Dimp Digital presents Idle Game Chat.
Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is the weekly video games podcast where we give our impressions of the games that you can play today and react to the latest news from the wonderful world of video games. We are here every Monday on your favourite podcast app and YouTube, absolutely free. I'm joined once again by the reigning Dimp Digital Gaming Quiz Champion. It's the choir boy himself. It's Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
I'm fed up, Dawn.
I had a good week.
I'll tell you, about an hour after that podcast last week, my comments, it's just that little video clip you sent that was replaying in my head. Won't be an issue. Not an issue, so don't need to worry. Won't be an issue. Don't need to worry. Echoing round and round.
We've spoken about these gaming gods and how they will strike down people, and they may well have got involved here. But we do have a packed show this week. You'll understand why Adkins is fed up, because we do have some impressions of games. So we're back to that. We're actually back to covering some video games, which is good. You'll get an insight into some of the stuff that we've been playing. But if you've been following us on the socials, you'll be knowing that there was a mystery member of the Dimp Digital team that had returned their PS5 just over a week after getting it. So we've got all that to get into. No prizes for guessing who that poor soul was. It was Mr. Adkins. He'll reveal the story in full later on, so stay tuned if you want to hear a grown man crumble in front of your eyes in audio form, because this could be an emotional end to an emotional podcast, big time. But before we get into that, I've got to do all the commercial stuff. Patreon.com/Idle Game Chat. You can go there to financially support us. Join some of our patrons in, well, I'm not going to say there's a community there, because there ain't. No one says anything, but amazingly there are people that spend money on this toot. I know they've been warned not to, but they still do it, and I still plug it every show. But if you want to do it, you can. If you don't want to, don't bother. In terms of our demographic, people have been asking for an update. We made a big deal about making strides in India. Still got a huge stronghold in India. 80% listenership is in the Indian market. The United Kingdom is following that up. And then the United States are the big three. But we're also out there in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Germany, Nepal, Canada, Japan, Singapore, Australia, Mexico, Holland, Nigeria, Oman, France, Italy, and of course New Zealand. So it is a worldwide podcast now. It's a phenomenon for people. Wherever you are in the world, as long as you've got access to the internet. And I don't know if you've got proper access in China. I don't know if they let you, but if you've got
internet,
maybe if you've got Wakeful internet, you might suffer. But there's a way for you to get this show. And if you are listening from one of the outside UK countries, thanks for that. And tell some friends and say, look, there's a great UK based podcast. And then that'll be enough. And then you put hand in pocket next week. So we will get you. We'll be coming after you for that money at some point, repaying some debts that we're up to our eyeballs in. Hopefully they'll give us a reprieve over Christmas, and then we can just start afresh. I said to them, look, I ain't got the money this year. Can we just start afresh next year? And they ain't got back to me. So could get booted out of the HQ that we're currently residing in. Anyway, waffling shit. We haven't even started. Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Cool.
PlayStation 5 launch game, also available on PS4. As we record this, I'm a bit disgusted that I've not seen a good in-depth Digital Foundry video on the differences between PS4 and PS5.
Yeah.
They keep fucking churning out these Assassin's Creed comparisons. That's getting the headlines. But we've both played Miles Morales. We've both had played the original Spider-Man, and
Yep.
I've done the remastered version of that again, so we'll chat about that a bit later. But the headline is Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Now, some people are sitting there saying, look, why are people paying for this game? It's too short. It's not a full sequel. Blah 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 blah. It's just more Spider-Man, which is a disgusting thing to say. Just more Spider-Man is awesome because the original was fucking awesome. Playing back through that, I was like, this is great. Anyway, but where do your thoughts lie with Miles Morales at a high level? Because big shoes to fill. I feel like Miles Morales is a very important character now in the Spider-Man universe. Like and we've had Into the Spider-Verse, which came out a couple of years ago, which got a lot of hype and was critically acclaimed. People love that film. So I think it's important that Insomniac pulled a bit of a rabbit out the hat here and did well with Miles Morales.
Yeah. I think, I'm almost certain, I like this more than the original.
Interesting. What's making you lean that way? You're not scared of these gaming gods, are you? You don't want them to strike you down again. They're not like bullies. I don't want them bullying people. That's what I've said to them. So don't be bullying the people that come on here to express opinions. But if they're being hypocritical, get up them. That's what I always say.
Get up them. No, I'm scared they're going to ruin my experience with the remaster. Now, I do need to play through that remaster again because it has been 2 years since I played it.
Yes.
2018. But I am a sucker for these smaller stories.
Yes.
I really liked the setting of this one. I really like Miles as a character.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter Parker is a great character and the sort of OG.
New character model.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I don't know. No, this game it felt like I loved Spider-Man. I don't remember what we would have give it. Say we would have give it like I don't know if we give it like an 8.5 or something maybe.
Yeah, I think you got annoyed with it more because you grinded that platinum and it got on top of yours.
Yeah, so getting a bit of things. So this just felt like it was like another perfect sequel. It was sort of everything I hated from the first one was amped up, and it was just a joy to play through and a joy to finish. The story I thought was great. It was sort of perfect length for this sort of thing. It didn't feel like a grind. No. It was cinematic. Had all those sort of Naughty Dog-esque set pieces that were like brilliant to play through. And see, like I played through on the performance mode.
Oh yes, yes.
And like there was the silkiest smooth gameplay, but you're missing out on things like ray tracing and stuff. But still, sections of the game, like my jaw was on the floor with how good some of the environments looked. Yeah. And I just really liked the setting. The soundtrack was quite cool. The sort of like hip hop trap sort of music that's been implemented. And just the characters, the story, Miles' story. I thought it's probably helped because I was a big fan of that Into the Spider-Verse film. I really did like that.
Yeah.
I just thought this was a perfect game to start the PS5 off. It was sort of its swan song.
Cool, fucking shit on Sackboy. Didn't even give it a chance to get out the gates, and Miles is installed. No, I would tend to agree with a lot of that. I finished it. I haven't done too much of the side stuff. What I liked actually. One quick thing. This is such a small thing, but it annoyed me in the OG and in the remaster. And I don't know whether I just got lucky during Miles Morales, but when I was doing side quests, and there's actually kind of two sets of side quests. You've got these things called activities as well, which are kind of like mini stories. But the side quests in particular in Spider-Man Remastered, they'd appear on the map. It would go, new side quest. And I go, cool, I'll go and do that. And Mary Jane would be going, Pete, I need you here. Get here. Got to do the washing. I'm like, fuck off. I've got to save some fucking New Yorkers. Do it yourself. And I'd go to the side quest activity marker, be some poor fucker who needs some help. It's like, Spider-Man. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Come on, chill out. And I'd initiate the side quest, and it would go from a beautiful sunny day in New York to a rainy shithole night. And I go, hang on. Yeah. That fucking Ronnie brain don't like things like that.
I remember you complaining about this on our last thing. It's just struck the old memory bell.
Yeah, and it really... just a small thing, but it really annoyed me that they could not even put the side quests there that were available during that time of day, because I was doing them kind of as they appeared. So I assumed if I did it that way, I'd at least be in sync with how it wants me to do it. But no, it would change the diet. Now, anyway, there's a handful of them in Miles Morales. I didn't run into that problem. Now, you may have run into it, but I don't know if that's something they corrected or whether I lucked out. But I was happy not to be. Well, ain't me. Ronnie was happy not to be dealing with that because you don't like things like that. But the biggest thing about Miles Morales, and having just played Remastered, like good 30 hours I spent in Remastered, that's a big game. That's bigger than I remember. Is that Miles Morales? You'd be forgiven for thinking, well, it's just another Spider-Man game, and it is. But this definitely has its own vibe. It has its own swagger. It has its own style in terms, like you mentioned, with the music and the characters and the setting. And it's snowing this time in New York, which kind of gives that a nice new aesthetic. Christmas feel, holiday feels, next gen launch feels. It's like a celebration almost. We love this time of year, and that's the biggest takeaway for me is just how this felt like its own game, had its own entity. It wasn't just a sloppy kind of sequel of Spider-Man. This is Miles' story, and that really got through to me.
If I was Peter Parker, I'd be fucking livid because he's got more powers than him.
Yeah,
he's like got fucking electricity and he can go invisible.
Yeah,
he's like, well, I can sense when someone's about to do something.
That's about it.
Cling to a wall, but he's like, I can do everything you can do, but I can also shoot electric.
Yeah,
punch you fucking across the street, and then I can turn invisible.
Miles is more powerful. Yeah, some of these that changed up the combat because you do get access to venom electricity, which kind of stuns enemies and can spread to enemies, and you've got a couple of like area of effect, attacks that you can do, and you have to kind of use that with certain enemy types to break their armor or stun them to a second stage. And then the camouflage, like that's great because that gives you a nice upper hand during some stealth sections. You mentioned, I remember one of the things you didn't like from OG Spider-Man was these 4 stealth sections it kept putting in at the most inconvenient times. Pretty much stripped out in Miles Morales. Nice lean experience, none of that nonsense. A couple of like walking bits you have to do, but no like proper stealth as like a non-suited up
as Mary
superhero.
It just used to annoy me playing as Mary Jane. That fucking's like, oh, here we go, another fucking stealth section. But no, this has stealth sections, but they're sort of more implemented into the gameplay. So it's sort of dynamic. You can fuck it up and just go straight into combat if you want. Yeah. But just the like finishing moves in this, the way Miles moves, just even with the swinging, and he's more agile. He's sort of everything's cooler. Yeah. Everything's like you say.
Adidas trainers on.
He's got these Adidas trainers on. He's doing backflip. He's got his hoodie on when you first start off.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, his tricks you can do in the air are much better. Like he's far more of a gymnast and an athlete than Peter Parker. Like they're much more advanced, but. Yeah, I like the story. I liked what happened. The only thing I would say on the narrative front, and obviously we're not going to spoil anything, I have to always just caveat that before people start putting off their headphones. I feel like the shorter runtime hurt it a little bit. Like things kind of escalated a bit quicker than what perhaps should have done. And so the short runtime is a blessing because there's less bloat for sure. Yeah. But at the same time, for the overall narrative, it felt like it was a little bit cramped. So it's almost like a blessing and a curse at the same time. But overall, I liked what happened throughout it. I enjoyed seeing Miles, and it's not quite an origin story, but just to set it up, like Peter Parker goes away on holiday basically with Mary Jane to go and cover some whatever it is, and this is like Miles for the first time being left on his own, and obviously it's an action game based in a superhero universe, so things don't go smoothly. So this is like Miles for the first time being left on his own, being accountable for everything that he's doing, coming to grips with just what his powers can do. So I liked that because we didn't really get the kind of Spider-Man origin story of the OG, which I think was a clever decision, really, because we've heard it a million times, but this kind of filled that gap. activities and side quests, we've touched on them,
Yeah.
but how do you feel about this app being used? You've got an app that you can use to kind of manage your side quests and your activities and crimes and bits and pieces. You still have dynamic crimes, but you can directly go towards one and set a marker on one using this app where people, essentially it's set up and people post stuff to it, and you can then choose which ones you do and which ones you don't, and it's just an easier way of managing things.
Yeah, I mean, as a trophy hunter, it's ideal, because certainly with the crimes, I remember sort of having to do, there was like trophies in the last one where it was like do certain things in certain crimes. So you just had to sort of fly around the city just waiting for these crimes to pop up.
That's it, yeah.
But whereas now you sort of can dynamically just quickly go into it and go, there's that one I need, and go into it after that. So I quite liked it in that sort of sense. I suppose it's, well, not that technology was less advanced in 2 years ago, but having apps on phones and stuff in games quite fun. So I could see it sort of, especially as the sort of side character, his little, almost like a sidekick, Genki.
Yeah, his little mate Genki. Yeah, he's cool.
It's like a computer whiz kid who helps him out. So it sort of fit into the story quite well as well. And like you say, it's there for people that want to do the extra stuff. Like a lot of people might just play the story and put it down.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, if I'm going to go for this platinum, it requires a second playthrough.
Yeah.
If you want to mop up all that story, there's at least sort of 15 hours worth of content here, I think, and they did chop 20 quid off the fee, so it's 50 quid, I think. So there was a lot of complaints about the length, but I've got to say, if I'm getting 15 hours out of it, I've bought a lot more games for a lot more money and played less.
Yeah.
So it's going to get talked about, because they did the same with the Uncharted Lost Legacy when that came out, these shorter little experiences. But I do like these shorter games. I don't know, it's just because of my predicament or whatever, we're having kids and whatnot, but I do prefer going through a nice 15-hour campaign than a bloated old 60, which we may touch upon on another game in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, I find a lot of satisfaction in seeing the conclusion of things. And when they're shorter, that lends to an easier time for me, because I can get through it quickly. I mean, I think I got through the main story of this in about, I don't know, actually. I feel like it's like 7 hours, maybe 8. Yeah. I don't know whether you've got a rough sort of. I looked on the PlayStation, it said 3 hours. I was like, I know I've played more than 3 hours, so it's not working, that little device already. Week 2, that's not working. Put that on the fucking list, Jim Ryan. But any ideas how much you played it to kind of dabble with whatever you was dabbling with and get through the main campaign?
I was going to say, it said 12.
Okay.
So I reckon I probably did about 10 hours. I reckon I can 2 of that were fucking sitting there with my ear up against the console. And 10 was actually playing and actually paying attention and not fucking crying at the same time.
Yeah.
So I reckon, I did a sort of good handful of most side quests. I was sort of trying to clear down as much as I could. Sort of what I kept doing was starting at one end of the island, the map, sorry.
Yeah. And
sort of on my way to the next mission marker, I was trying to clear everything that was in my way.
Yes, yeah.
So I sort of didn't have too much to go. I think once I finished the game, there's like a percentage, and I think I was about 80%.
Okay.
Just under maybe. So I did give it a good shagging.
Yeah.
It's just I've just got a bit more to do to pick up. So so like I say, that was probably it probably would have been about sort of 7, 8 hours maybe for the main story, and then a couple of hours on side quests.
Yeah.
And a couple of hours sticking your ear to the console. So I suppose it's like any of these games, you probably could blitz through it in about 5 hours if you were just mainlining and
fast travelling and doing
travelling, and that's it. But it's you could probably there's probably people that have played this for 30 hours or something. It's all different, but good.
Yeah, you mentioned that when you were swinging through, you try and mop up things on your way, and we've touched upon the side quests and activities. You've got side quests which are like side quests, like you'd expect, the multi kind of stage things, and then you've got activities which are kind of like almost like standalone quests, but they have a bit of like a setup and a and then you go out and do the thing and come back and a resolution and things like that. So the activities are a nice kind of like a smaller side quest type. But then you got all like the odd job stuff, like the collectibles, the challenges, the sound and beat finder thing that you get a bit later on. What did you make of these parts, like the odd jobs parts? I for one really liked the challenges, and essentially what they are is that Pete set up a load of hologram challenges for you to hone your skills. And in the previous games, in the previous game, I should say, you would do the challenge, you'd get a number of tokens, you'd then spend that on mods and upgrades and things like that. In this one, if you do the challenge, you actually unlock a new skill. So there's actually a reason to kind of go and do it, because then you can unlock all of what Miles has to offer as a character in combat or stealth or swinging or whatever it might be. But you tell me, what are these fucking odd jobs like?
Yeah, I quite like doing these. As much as it was a bit of a bloated getting the platinum in the first one, it was quite fun doing these.
Yeah.
I think this has again just been amped up, so they're just a bit more exciting. They have, like you say, a little bit of story towards them, so it's worth doing. And they're generally pretty fun to sort of play. They're, like you say, little challenges. There'll be like some of the fighting ones I quite like, where it's just like you can only kill enemies a certain way, or so you have to juggle them up in the air and kill them.
Yeah.
The stealth ones, now they're the fuckers.
Yeah.
Just because they're a little bit tricky, because there was one I must have retried about 10 times, I think. Just sort of work. It's almost like a bit of a puzzle, working out who to go to first.
Who to distract, then
That's it. But yeah, so they get a little bit tedious if you're trying to, but for the most part, yeah, they're good little fun things. And the collectibles, the time capsules, was it? That was sort of quite interesting. It sort of filled a bit of background, a bit of lore to the story.
Yes, yeah.
Between some of the characters, and then the beats, I think I did 2 of them.
Yeah.
Didn't really do many, but yeah, it was quite cool. Again, fitting into the sort of style and swagger of young Miles.
Yeah, he loves mixing beats. And for those that are thinking, what the fuck are they talking about beats? Essentially, you unlock this activity where you go to certain parts on the map, and then you kind of use like a microphone and an original beat sample that has a noise that you're trying to find and record again. So you kind of look around the environment with this little grid at the top, and it'll show you whether the sound bars are in line with it, and you can listen to it. And then once you find it, you record it, and it adds it to the pile and whatnot. And it's things like one of them's a neon sign that's humming. That's the noise that's humming. And then there's another one where there's a boat rocking, I think, in the sea and whatnot. And they're reasonably interesting. Like you, I did a couple of them.
Yeah, it was fun. I was finding it quite tricky trying to actually line it up perfectly. At first, I was looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah,
it sort of tells you if there's something obstructing your way, and I was like, cool. And it really did take a little time to actually get into the perfect position. I don't know if it was just me being a div.
No, I struggled a bit, like hopping around from place to place.
But it's something new, something different, so it's quite good.
Yep. The other thing I noticed was that the enemies felt a little bit more advanced. And I mean, in terms of their AI, like in particular, like because I just come off playing the original, I kind of had down a system for each of the enemy types, and I was expecting kind of to breeze through this, but actually they made some really subtle changes that had to make me relearn stuff, which is good because you don't want it to be the same each time. And the one in particular was like the melee characters, when they have like a crowbar or a bat or something. When you kind of move in to hit them with a zip line attack, normally you can just go straight into a combo and just smash them up in the air, finish them off and whatnot. But in Miles Morales, once you zip lined them once, they would immediately counter and you would have to dodge. And I just, for the life of me, even to the bitter end, I kept getting caught out by that. The amount of times I was doing those fucking challenges and getting caught out by those fuckers, I was like, oh, for God's sake. Because it was a new skill I kind of had to learn. And even to the end, I was still getting caught out. And I was quite...
The fat slots as well. You try and whip them and they just chuck you in the air, didn't you? Like, oh.
Yeah. And there's like subtle things like the finishers were tied to your focus meter in Spider-Man. In Miles Morales, they're actually tied to your combo. So I think you get 15, you get one finisher, and then you can, I think 30 might be the next one, or 25. And you get them that way. So it, again, a subtle tweak, and kind of gives Miles a little bit more of a unique play style. As we've mentioned, the electricity powers and the camouflage, they change things up quite drastically.
Yeah.
So
Certainly felt a lot more cinematic with the inclusion of that sort of those moves you could do. That really did, and you could sort of implement them to the combo. It's quite good that you could. I think that's why you could do it in the first one, couldn't you? You could do the finishes and then carry on comboing, but it almost is like another sort of a secondary finisher. Some of these moves you can do that, but it just really does. It just blends so well and feels more cinematic, and it'd be fun just watching people play this as well.
Yeah.
Right up, it's just one of those fun things to watch.
Yeah.
And looks glorious on that PS5.
Yeah, I'll definitely recommend the performance mode to those of you that have got the PS5 version. It really does make the gameplay so much more silky, and you don't side by side. You probably do lose a little bit of fidelity, but the trade-off in the gameplay is just. In my eyes, not worth keeping. Like, you go back to fidelity mode and you're like, what is this fucking slug? I mean, quicksand here trying to get around.
That has been one downside to this next gen experience. Is 60 is the way forward, and there's games coming up that are being talked about 30, so that is going to be very tough.
Yes.
To continue.
Little side bit of knowledge here. The guy who plays Miles Morales, and I'm going to slaughter his name, so apologies in advance, Naji Jetta. Okay, he's up for a Game Award, so you can go and vote for him on Keeley's The Game Awards. But the little side bit of information, little nugget, is he played Sam from The Last of Us. So there you go.
No, that.
You do now. So those of you out there looking for little nuggets of information to draw the dots between your favourite games, there's a little link back to The Last of Us. Right, anything else before we give Miles Morales its kind of recommendation of thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs in your arse?
No, we suppose we haven't talked about the loading times. That was one thing, really.
You can you can turn your PS4 on, ignore the boot time for that, but run it from cold. You get into the PS4, right, done that. You hit Miles Morales, it loads up. Once you've done it the first time, it skips all the title screens, so you're straight into the menu. You hit continue, you hit the game save that you want to choose, it loads. You can do all that in about 12 seconds.
It's mental.
It's madness.
Fast travelling. It unlocks fast travelling quite late in the game, I thought. It was about halfway through.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It's like, cool. But then I just wanted to try it. I'd done it once. Like, I remember there's like I quite like the cutscene. There's even an option, so you can have them.
Yeah.
But there is literally no need. I fast travelled from one end of the map to the other. It took, I don't even know if it was a full second.
Yeah.
It's literally instant. I was like, cool.
Yeah. One of the cool things is, like, there are bases like there was in the original that you go into. So you go inside a base and clear it down and do something. Like on the OG, when you'd exit the base, it would go to a black screen, load, and put you out. This one, Miles just slings himself straight out a gap, straight into the city, and you're off again.
Oh, fucking insane.
Yeah.
They talked a big talk about this SSD and how it's going to be the fastest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. Done a good job.
Boy, gee, this game. Yeah, it is phenomenally quick.
Yeah.
Very good.
Another thing, last thing actually, there are no arbitrary clear down bollocks, and what I mean by that is the map's open and visible to you from the start, so you don't have to go to each district and de-scramble a fucking code or clear out a boss and then it opens up all the icons. No. Everything from the day you start and get past the prologue is open, and you can see everything on the map. There's no cloud, no fog of war, and I think in a much leaner experience, which was quite clear as what this was, that was the right way to go, because I didn't want to be going around to each district again, unlocking them all.
No, exactly right.
Cut that out.
Hit the nail on the head.
Here we go then. Miles Morales, Spider-Man. How many thumbs and where are they going?
2 thumbs straight up the arse. Two thumbs up. Absolutely phenomenal for me. Very good. Hard to fault it. People will question the length maybe, but I'll question you paying less. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant game.
Yeah. I am going to give it... I Don't know. One thumb up. Great game. Great game. Yeah, it's close. It don't really matter. That's why we kind of do these thumbs, because they're not it's not 10 out of 10, so we ain't got to worry about that. But it's a very good game. Like, if you liked the first, the original, you're going to like this. I can't see anyone who didn't enjoy Spider-Man not playing this and being just impressed with it. And Miles, they've now established Miles and his story in this universe. I'm really keen to see what happens next. Maybe we'll chat about that in a moment. But 2 thumbs up from Mr. Adkins, 1 thumb up for me. If you've got a PS5 or if you've got a PS4 even, get hold of this game and give it a play over Christmas, over this festive period. You'll not regret it. It's a great game. I wanted to quickly touch on Spider-Man Remastered, because I've played through it again. Didn't import the save. I deleted all my saves on PS4 with a clean slate, Ronnie said.
Playing a free platinum rating for you.
So that's one thing. If as we record this, you still have to own Miles Morales to get the remastered Spider-Man, which is a bit shit. Hopefully they change it, but you can upgrade it at a later date.
So they're going to cut that down.
Yeah, I mean, eventually they surely have to. But if you've got an old save, you can import that. And you can start where you left off, or you can import your progress and your trophies. They'll all come along with you, so you'll get another platinum trophy. I deleted mine, so I've got to do it again if I want that platinum, which I kind of feel, if you're going to do the platinums, put the fucking work in.
Put the work in,
But this was a reminder of how great Spider-Man was. This is a really, really solid game. It was very unstable before, like, the second patch. So...
that's something I didn't talk about in the thing. That I did have a couple of crashes in Miles.
I had one. I had one.
I had 2 in a row, and maybe a third, but that was it. But we don't expect a remaster.
Yeah, but I had at least 3 or 4 in Spider-Man Remastered during that first week of the PS5. Most were just crashes back to the UI saying, don't know what's happened, report it, and I was like, all right, reload, bang. Not the end of the world. One of them and we saw this on Biff. Biff sent us over a little little video of what happened. It locked his whole PS5 up, and the same happened to me. I could not turn off the PS5. I held down the button, I tried doing stuff with the controller, yada yada yada, didn't work. I had to unplug the bastard, which is, a huge no-no. In your first week of the PS5, you don't want to be unplugging that from the fucking mains, but it's the only way I can get it off.
I think Demon Souls did it for me. It was, and it again locked up, couldn't freeze, had to plug, and then it come up database rebuild, and I was like, if this console ain't been through enough already.
No, it doesn't need all this. So it was definitely unstable. Once the patch went in, I had no problems, no really? Sort of crashing at all. So I was happy with that. I think they may have got to the root of some stuff. I heard that leaving Spider-Man Remastered in rest mode was bollocks in some people's consoles up, like bricking them. So I didn't do that, just because I thought, I've seen the stories, I'm not going to risk it. But I believe a lot of the instability has been fixed with the patches and whatnot. But it was there, and it's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, this was just a great reminder of what a great game Spider-Man is. It's meaty. It's meatier than what I remembered. And that was not frustrating, but I'd been through it once, and there's a lot of details I'd missed. I would never have remembered half the stuff that happened. And I was kind of glad I did Remastered first, then Miles Morales, because although Miles Morales, you've got an option to watch a little catch up. There's a lot of details in Remastered and like interactions with Miles that are actually really cool to see, and then going into like the new games is a good way to do it. But it's 30 odd hours, so if you've got to really be willing to put the time in. But this is a great game, like Spider-Man. Like really, really. So it's no wonder that Miles Morales came out so well, when this is like the foundation of it. So well written, the combat's slick as fuck, the web swinging's click, like you know it all. Anyway,
did they add anything to the combat or anything like that, or any of the web swinging, like the actual core gameplay? Did they change anything?
I didn't notice anything like that. Obviously, the load times are super quick. So it still fades to black when you come out of a base, but it's instant. It goes bang, and you're back out. And if you fast travel, it's almost instant as well. But no gameplay parts that I noticed. I think they
No.
pretty much kept it exactly the same. Swapped in the new Peter Parker model, upraised it, gives you the option for fidelity versus performance mode. Again, chose performance mode. It was great to play it through in that. But what I would say is Miles Morales probably noticeably better looking, and I don't know if that's just because of the style they've gone for, with the snow and like the kind of that type of weather just lends itself to looking a bit nicer. But it's definitely shows where a game's been forwardly thought out to be on the PS5, where they've kind of harnessed a bit more of the power rather than just remastering an older game. But yeah, it's 20 quid if you've got Miles Morales to upgrade. And if you've not played it, what are you doing? Like, that's the upgrade you want. You get Miles Morales and then you get the remaster. If you have played it, you know, if you like some more Spider-Man, this won't do you any harm. It's a great game in its own right. So no complaints there. One thumb up. And Spider-Man Remastered makes its debut on the PS5.
Who's better, the original face model or the new one?
I think I like the new one better now.
Oh dear. He seems to like to fit the age more better, like the age of the character. The older one looked a bit more like Andy Garfield. And it's got that Tom Holland feel. From certain angles, it really does look like Tom Holland. So I can see why they've done it.
I don't know. I think I prefer the new one now. Like, it didn't when I first saw it, I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" And then the second I sort of played the game and saw it, I was like, "Actually, this isn't as jarring as I thought it was going to be, and looks quite good." And if this is the precedent they've set now, I'm happy. Don't change it again. I'm not putting up with that again.
A big thing I noticed from when they first released images of the new voice actor was the mouth animations looked really incredible. I don't know, is that anything that stuck out at all in the new one, in the remaster?
No, they were still spot on. So I know one of the reasons they changed the base, I guess, for the model was that it fitted the voice actor's face. They felt like they were more forward compatible with the original voice actor. So they felt like they could get better animation out of this new chap, and I can't remember who was doing what, but yeah, it's certainly not jarring. It's probably a sensible thing to do if they felt like it was going to hold them back a little bit going forward, because we're surely getting more of these games. Whether it's a full-blown sequel, I don't know. I mean, what would you want out of these Spider-Mans now? We've had 1.5, maybe. Yeah. Do we do a full game? Is co-op going to do it? We're going to do GTA where we swap between Miles and Peter?
Yeah,
are they going to fucking? Good. Yeah. What do you want out of this? What would you ideally be looking at for the next Spider-Man game?
I would. Yeah, I'd like. That idea is really good. I think that would be good. Would like to continue Miles' story and have a crossover. I was just thinking, how would that work? I suppose, like you did in the original, didn't you? You sort of played a little bit of Miles, but it was obviously before he gained his powers or whatnot. So I wonder if they could do that sort of style. It'd be a very Nick Rockstar trademark. I don't think too many other games do that, where you sort of can change on the fly. But yeah, that would be awesome. But yeah, I do want to see a continuation of the story.
Yes.
Some new sort of villains. Certainly, like I still am a huge fan. I haven't read for years, but I've got a lot. I own a lot of comics. The Amazing Spider-Man. So there's a lot of villains they can take from. And yeah, obviously with no spoilers, but the conclusion of the original game, I'm hoping they're going to continue that storyline.
Well,
so yeah, just to go above and beyond. Yeah, I'm expecting maybe this year or next year a sort of an announcement of a full Spider-Man PS5
ground up jobby.
Round up and back to Peter Parker. But yeah, I'd definitely, now Miles has been introduced, maybe we'll get the full Into the Spider-Verse. We'll get a Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, who knows?
Spider-Gwen in there, maybe the little pig as well, but Spider-Pig, or any of them could be coming along. So yeah, it would be good to get into that sort of multiverse, and that's the thing with these comic book games. There's so much they could do. They can sort of pull from any bit of sort of story arc or whatnot. But yeah, more of the same. Just up the ante again.
Yeah.
Keep that fidelity mode. make the finishes more fun, some of the stories, some of the activities, and yeah, just keep it going. Insomniac are doing a really good. Is it Insomniac?
Yeah.
That did this, yeah, isn't it? Yeah. They're on the up. They're doing it well. Keep it coming. So yeah, I'd like to see a new sequel, probably next year, with the remaster and Miles this year. Sorry, not yet. Next year, probably 2022. I'd say. Give us a year off Spider-Man, because otherwise it'll be like, fucking hell, it's getting a bit much now.
Yeah, I think that's the earliest we'll see it is 2022.
Yeah,
I could see it being a bit later than that, but yeah. I mean, one question, I don't want to harp on this too long, but there's an obvious clash of what's better. Is it these Spider-Man games or them Arkham games? Where are you sitting now? Now you've had a taste of Miles Morales, and bearing in mind that the Arkham series was built on last gen, so that's definitely something to be said. But where are you kind of sitting now, where you've got a bit more of a modern take, and you've got Spider-Man lurking with these two games?
Yeah, I mean, I think Spider-Man is a better game than the Arkham games. I really did like the
Biff's
Arkham
going to go
games.
mental when he hears that.
Yeah, I still do. Funny enough, I started playing through Arkham Asylum this year on the Master Race, trying to sort of work my way back through the three of them. I even went through that fucking Tutor as well, Origins. Like 30 hours.
I never played that.
Well. It was alright. It wasn't that bad. It got shit on, but it wasn't as bad as people were saying. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Arkham things. But I think what they lacked were that sort of Naughty Dog set pieces and.
Yeah, I was thinking that those set pieces. And I know a lot of the set pieces people slag off in Spider-Man. So like, oh, it's quick time events. It's like but it's still cool to see that all unfold. They definitely have the upper hand through it. And the other thing that used to annoy about the Arkham games, particularly Arkham City and Arkham Knight, is they're like, well, there's no people on the streets because it's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, no, they're staying in because they've on martial law. It's like, no.
It's like a dead city.
That's like a huge part of Batman, like saving people, like the dynamic crimes that you get in Spider-Man can be annoying because you're like, oh, I'm on the way to do something, but oh, fuck it. But it gives you that kind of simulation of what it would be like to be a superhero. You've got multiple different, priorities that you've got to manage. So I'd like to see that implemented in whatever flavour Gotham Knights or whatever we get.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does seem like that the gameplay trailer that we got from Gotham Knights looked like it did have a sort of living world almost. So yeah, I'll probably put this one to Spider-Man for the time being, but I'd probably say I'd like Batman more than I do Spider-Man, to be fair. So I feel bad for old Bruce and the boys, but yeah, I think Spider-Man is a better superhero game. But the pair of them have got nothing on Marvel's Avengers, so that's 6-10 up your ass. No, that was a joke.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Suicide Squad as well, because that'll be Rocksteady returning. But we will see. Now, we've talked about a bit of bloat that could have been lurking. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, I've done 30 hours of this.
Cool.
I checked it on my game save.
13 myself.
Yeah. I must say I'm enjoying it. Like it's more of this new take on, not new, but this more modern take on Creed, which started with Origins and continued with Odyssey, and now we've got Valhalla. But the time period and the setting I find just so much more interesting than like dusty old Greece. Like I'm enjoying roaring around the rural lands of England and going on the rivers on my longboat and exploring and raiding, and it's Vikings, so that's just cool as it goes. So it looks like it's going to be a biggie though. It kicks things off with what I'd say is the worst prologue that Assassin's Creed has ever put out. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. It just kind of chucks you in. There's story missions, but then it kind of says, oh, there's loads of these side things to do as well. And I was like, okay, I'll go and do one of them. And then the guy in there was like level 200. And I was like, well, what's that doing in the prologue? Why are you letting Ronnie meet these people that he can't get at for another 40 hours? So that annoyed me. Anyway, my advice is get the fuck out of Norway and get to England as soon as you can. That's when the game really kicks in and opens up, when you can do the raiding, you can start building your settlement, which I love things like that, and do all the fun stuff around England and try and establish your clan as a dominant faction, I guess. But level gating doesn't feel as egregious. Like, it's still there, but it's different. Like, I think it was capped at level 50 in the original game. This one, you get 2 ability points per level, and everything that goes up to like 200 and something. So you kind of feel like you're making a bit more progress. But the missions that I've run into, I haven't had to go off and grind and hunt for fucking side quests. Like, I'm naturally just kind of getting there. Maybe because I'm taking a bit more of my time exploring and whatnot. But how are you finding Valhalla? You got a 13-hour impression lined up for us.
I've got to say, I'm now forced to go back to it. That's which we'll discuss later. But yeah, sort of did fire it up again. Was it last night? Yeah, stuck a couple of hours into it last night. I am liking it. It seems to be the more I sort of play it, the more I get into it. Very much similar to Start to Yourself. Sort of started off a bit half baked and was sort of unsure about how I felt about it. I did like Odyssey. I do agree with the dusty arse setting.
Where too, didn't we? Egypt was another dusty setting.
Old shit, yeah, it was. So this sort of is a nice breath of fresh air.
Green foliage to roar around in Essex.
Yeah, I tell you what's annoying me though, it's just the way they talk. I know it's you've got to have it for the way they sit, but all these silly words they used to call shit the wackalinga, mate. The whacker, all this weird sort of lingo that this Anglo-Saxons and whatnot used to bring over. That's the only thing that's annoying me a little bit.
It's funny, that reminds me of when Biff didn't like about Horizon. They all Horizon Zero Dawn.
Religion.
They all talked like they had this strange way of talking within like the faction that you're in. He like Mother Earth and all this, and he used to fucking get off his nose. And I guess it's a similar thing here with Valhalla.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of that. I'm just like, just talk properly, for fuck's sake. But no,
why this Animus translating it to Essex for me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's it doing?
Yeah.
But no, I think the characters are pretty cool. I'm getting a lot of Game of Thrones vibes from this one. I know I did get a lot from Witcher, but that was sort of, that was peak. That was a lot of right slap in the Game of Thrones series. So maybe that was a comparison there. But certainly with that sort of the brutal English setting. That was very. Game of Thrones had that same sort of setting. It didn't have medieval.
Loads of kings, loads of stuff to be getting on with.
Yeah, so it's a bit like that. Yeah, I've got to say, it seems very brutal, this one, which is a massive plus. I do like brutality in video games.
Yes.
So even down to some of the sort of finishing moves you can do. The combat's pretty good. The only thing I keep finding, I'm not really tending to change any of my weapons and stuff. I just keep seeming to upgrade everything, and it's just powering stuff up. So I've not really gone through much different weapons, to be honest. I think I'm still
using that axe,
wielding the 2 axes that I started off with.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'll tell you what. I remember playing Odyssey, and you kill someone and get fucking 8 bits of gear, and you were forever checking the power level, putting new stuff on, taking new stuff off. And whilst that can be entertaining and addictive, I think I prefer, and it's actually a really good call out, that Valhalla doesn't overwhelm me with gear. I've got a fair amount of it now, but nothing's just given a power level. So you can't immediately just look at it and say, that's level 30, that's level 20, I'll put the level 30 on. Like, they've all got their individual stats and individual strengths and weaknesses. And I think they're all assigned to a specific type of weapon or type of armor. Yeah. Like, you've got the Ravens, the Wolves, and the Berserkers, and they all I think the Berserkers are focused on power. Raven might be stealth, and I don't know what Wolf is, but those type of things. And you can get armor set bonuses if you put the same type on, or the complete set. So I kind of there's a bit more, it feels like there's a bit more thought put into it, and that you can actually get more attached to your gear, like you have, level up your 2 axes, and then that could be you set for the game. It doesn't push you in the direction of Breath of the Wild, where everything breaks and you've got to use a new weapon every 5 minutes. So you're not really pushed to use a spear. You're not really pushed to use a mace unless you actively choose it. But I like the idea of finding something that you really connect with and keeping it and being able to upgrade it as you progress rather than having to like throw it away and pick something up you don't want. That's my kind of view on it, but I can understand where if you're used to getting new gear and wanting to put new stuff on and feel like that's part of the progress, this doesn't really have that. No,
I noticed it with the sort of outfit that I've got. I think I might even be using one I got off of Twitch. I've got some sort of Twitch.
Oh yeah, I've had a few things dropped on me, like from Ubisoft Club and Connect.
That's it. And I was like, cool. And then I sort of thought, because it's almost looks like a bit of an outfit that would go from Odyssey, really. It feels like more of a Greek outfit. I was like, well, I don't look right. But then I went to go back to my old thing and I was like, I saw my stats drop dramatically. I was like, cool, blimey. Yeah. So yeah, I think like I've only been playing about 13 hours, I think, and I wouldn't even say I've got 3 of each item yet. I think I've only got sort of 1 or 2 of each. So yeah, it's definitely a change. And I've got to say I'm agreeing with you. I think that is a good thing. I don't like that you sort of nothing's worth keeping. You're chucking everything out.
Yeah.
Nothing to get attached to. So yeah, it's quite a good system, to be honest.
Yeah, I much prefer it because it's less time spent in menus putting stuff on and more time playing the game. And like if you find that axe or if you find that bit of armor you love, it looks like you can keep it as long as you keep upgrading it and get the resources to do so, which is great. I think that's a better way of doing it rather than like the Division or Odyssey where you're getting dropped 6 weapons every time you kill a boss and you're like, oh good Jesus, now I've got to spend 12 minutes fucking about in here. But yeah, I'm enjoying Valhalla. I like some of the changes they've made. Like they've got some new mini games in there. Like I think Gulag's one of the dice games. The drinking game's quite fun to play.
Fumbling about.
Yeah, and I like the world events they've added. These are like micro quests. Like you just turn up. There's people like shouting something out. You're going. They're a little marker. They're still an icon, so you can still find them. You chat to them. They've got a very small problem. You go and solve it for them. Bit of XP, a little bit of story, and they feel a bit more dynamic, a bit more natural. They fit more into the world, so I kind of like that you've got these world events. And
tell you what, I don't fucking like.
Here we go.
I am getting absolutely fucking wrecked by it. I can't remember what they're called in this game, but they've been there since Origins.
Big slops.
The fucking the big bounty slops that come after.
Oh shit, yeah.
I forget what they're called. They were in both.
They were mercenaries in Odyssey.
I had one come into it, fucking got involved.
Zealots in this one or something?
Zealots, yeah, I think you're right. He is a zealot. I had one come into one of my story missions and I just had one more person to kill to get the mission end, and he just fucking come in and wipe the floor with me. I'm about, I don't know what I am, level 20, 30 maybe, 25, 30, and he was a level 90. He just fucking walked in, slapped me around the head twice and fucking put me down. I was like, oh.
They are devastators. They are dangerous. And they're prowling around certain regions. I don't think they actively hunt you like the mercenaries do.
Right.
I really hated that in Odyssey where you'd get like a wanted level and then people would like come for you and it was like, I just want to get on with the game. I don't want to be dealing with these bastards. But they're more like regional sort of defenders, so you can run into them if you've got a story mission in that area. I definitely at the tail end of one like a small contract I'd taken out. They've still got like daily contracts that you can do and stuff like that. So I was doing one of those. And I just killed him and then he came bolting around the corner and I was like, Jesus, I just ran off. I was like, I ain't dealing with him. It was like level 90.
Yeah, you can sort of get on. But yeah, no, I just noticed that.
I'm looking forward to leveling up and killing one of those bastards, though.
I was going to say, I don't think I've killed one yet. No, I haven't. I haven't run away, or they just, if I do try. Because I remember being powerful enough in Odyssey. I was like, I can deal with these now. It's all right, they're not a problem. But certainly in this, I shit myself when I see one and run as quick as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a little grievance, but it's quite fun. Yeah. But what I'd say is, again, this next-gen experience, playing the first ever Creed on console. Well, not the first, actually. Unity was supposed to be playing at 60, but that was about 40 or something.
Yeah.
So we won't talk about it. But now we have a silky smooth 60 performance mode straight out the box.
Yeah.
And everything just feels right. This is the way all games should be. I don't want to see 30. That should have been the fucking branding on the box. 60 minimum. Instead, they stick 8K, which we ain't going to see. For
I know,
fucking
yeah,
7
this is the thing. I don't care about, like, just stop.
Yeah, it's annoying.
These games look fucking awesome if they're dynamic 4K or 1440p upscaled. Like, what they're doing with these games in terms of like the upscaling to like not be native 4K but giving out 60 it's the way to go. I'm worried about this ray tracing getting its hooks in and going, right, bring everything back down to 30 and then you have to build back up again. But yeah, this runs. I think it had a few problems when it first launched on the Series X. Like you were getting screen tearing because you didn't have any VR.
We did talk about that, didn't we, last week? Yeah. I now possess the CX.
Yep. John Linneman special.
The absolute fucking beauty.
Rather than them fucking keep doing Valhalla for the 4th time, why don't they do a bloody TV settings for both these consoles?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
bloody hell, Linneman.
Got the same one.
I would message him, but he closed all his DMs because he was getting abuse from fucking toxic brats. Poor fucker. Leave Digital Foundry alone. They're trying to do a good job.
Yeah,
get out of them. But yeah. Valhalla.
Yeah, it's very good. Valhalla, this is the way it should be.
Yep.
And I'm just excited to give it some, but I do. Yeah, you can sort of feel the blokeness
it's
is coming.
Big boy. Yeah.
Big boy indeed. But now I'm left with my just Xbox. I will persist until Cyberpunk.
Yes, yeah. That's going to be a clash of the titans, that's for sure.
December tomorrow, isn't it? Fucking
it will be.
Tuesday, sorry. So
wow, this airs on Monday, so you were right.
Oh yeah, that's
exposed the business again.
Now 10 days to go. 11 days of you listening to this on day with Dot.
Yeah,
and then we've got the big boy.
Going to be interesting. So no thumbs up or downs for that because we ain't finished it.
No, not yet. Well, no, we haven't given enough shagging. Positive things though.
I'll finish it and come back for sure. That'll be like my main game for a while now.
I think I used to do this a lot with Creed. I'd sort of like hammer about sort of 20 hours out,
stop,
and then sort of more shit would come out, and then I'd sort of come back to it sort of halfway down the year, next year, and then finish it off. But
really trying not to do that, but
that's it.
When you got Cyberpunk knocking on your door, you're like, well, make way. Let's see what this is offering.
But it's good that we've not really got much else. There's stuff we can certainly get through and get this done, ready for the new one.
Really quick, we gushed about Astro's Playroom last week. The packing game for the PS5. Just quickly wanted to give the thumbs up recommendation for that. We was focusing mainly on the hardware, but we spoke so much about Playroom that if you want to hear about it, go back and listen to it. But any thumbs up or downs for Astro's Playroom? Then we'll get into it. Yeah.
Here's my thing, right? In my head, I'm going 7 and 8s is 1 thumb, 9 and 10s are 2 thumbs, right? Yeah. That's my logic. I'm giving double thumbs up for Astro.
Same here. 2 thumbs up for Astro's Playroom.
I just thought it was. I mean, you can't have any get. Well, I suppose you can have a go at fee because it costs you £450 to play the game.
Yeah,
but it's a freebie to play. It just was phenomenal. A tech demo, but it's. I think I said this last week about people said that we grew up on what's it called, Mario 64 and the old Mario games. This game feels like a sort of, although it's very short and whatnot, this just feels like a game that the kids of today will remember and be like, oh, do you remember that Astro Bot? It just had that sort of classic-y feel to it, how it felt like a classic platformer. It was like such an endearing walk through the history of PlayStation. And just 10 out of 10 and just like the perfect tech demo to show off that PS5.
Yep, 2 thumbs up from the boys here. Now we revert back to a bit of hardware update. So we've got just before we get into I know people are itchingly waiting to wonder why this PS5's gone. I have one update on the hardware side. So we mentioned there was crashes in Spider-Man and Miles Morales, but that's happened. I had a crash on Valhalla this past week as well. So both consoles or games, maybe it's them, we don't know. They're not perfect. We're struggling a little. We're not struggling. But it does happen, so just be aware. Now, I really got a good chance to fiddle around with the capture tool on the PS5. So that lets you take screenshots and videos of your gameplay. And the PS5's capture tools that are integrated into that PS5 are fucking excellent. I am so impressed with that tool there. You can record your last hour of footage. So you can record 30 seconds, you can record a minute, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or up to an hour. Or you can start a recording for an hour as and when you hit it. So if you wanted to start a game and record it, you can do that. And as someone who had previously kind of dabbled, like that YouTube channel used to be brimming with gameplay stuff that we captured ourselves, and eventually we got a capture card and things like that. Like, this tool is really good. Like the inbuilt PS5 function is so good. Like I pulled off a few videos today to look at them and think, right, are they coming out at good quality? They are more than reasonable. They are coming out at excellent quality. To put on a YouTube channel if you wanted to do that. So if you're interested in content creation and using B-roll and things like that, or showing gameplay, the PS5 is so good for that, because you can do an hour either side, and the quality's top drawer. The Series X, I used that a fair old amount in the first couple of weeks. Used it again recently. It's fucking garbage.
Really?
It's utter toot. You can only record up to 2 minutes, as far as I can work it out. So you can go back 2 minutes in time. I'm like, wow. If I'm trying to put together a 15-minute gameplay loop, it ain't going to happen. I can't. Not just that, when you record, and then if you're playing in HDR, the footage that it saves is all messed up. All the colours are fucked. They're all really dark. It looks like there's some sort of not problem, but just where it's saving the source file down, it's either down converting it to SDR, and all the colours are messed up. So it just looks like shit. You can't use it. So for those that are on the content creation side, if you're looking at that, then definitely give the PS5 a try. I'm not going to say it's better than replacing a capture device, but if you don't want to pay out for one, the PS5 is a great alternative. So well done on that front. Now,
that nice little bit of thing.
Now, here's the big one.
Now, Jim Ryan, fucking sit down.
Well, sit down and listen, Jim, because we've got some.
Sit down, Jim. Yeah.
We've got a story to tell you. Adkins has.
Here we go.
And
so,
forgive the pun, but you were buzzing for this PS5, weren't you?
I was buzzing, absolute buzzing.
You tell them the story. You've done all the research. You've got all the data you need. You unlaid to the Idle Game Chat fans, who 80% of them are residing in India, what has happened with your PS5 and why you've not got it with you as we speak.
No. So if we listen back, what we should do is edit in my clip. A lot of edit work of my thing. When I was speaking about, we was nitpicking about trying to find things wrong with it, and this. And I mentioned this thing. I'd already read this article about this thing called coil wine. Yeah. I was like, right, that was in my mind. That's upset Rodney, and I thought, right, what's this? So the PS5, when it gets announced, and that the biggest problem was this PS4 Pro is like a fucking leaf blower. Everyone knows that. That's renowned. Jim Ryan knows that now. That's the thing. So when this PS5's come out, the biggest thing I wanted to know was, what does it sound like? And what we get is it's absolutely mute and silent. So what does fucking Divvy here do? Divvy starts sticking his head up against the console. What I noticed, and I said this last week, was there's this little buzz sound. And that little buzz sound is just what it is. It's just like it's this thing. I found it out now that it's called coil wine.
Definitely that.
I think, well, this is what my research seems to be, coil wine, and it's just the electricity going through the components, mainly the GPU, I think, and it's just sending the vibration of the electricity going through, and it sort of gives it a bit of feedback, and that little wine. So I noticed that mine did that when I stick my head up against it.
Yeah.
Then I noticed that was, it must have been, I was only playing at Astro at that time, so I must have noticed it then. Then we did that pod last week and was talking about it and was saying it's no issue. You know, you have to stick your head up against it. It's no problem. You know, I'm nitpicking. I can't hear it over me telly.
Yeah.
That's it. End of it. Thought that was it. Nipped in the bud. And then Rodney starts sitting there going, is it quieter than the telly? And I start focusing on it. I start playing games. Then I started playing Spider-Man in performance mode, and I'm hearing it rev up a bit. I can hear it getting louder. Oh, cool. Then I start thinking about it more. Start going online. The worst thing you can do. Start searching it out.
Well of poison.
The well of poison comes up. I go onto Twitter and I type in coil wine. I see Andrew. I see fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry going, my PS5's got coil wine. My PS5 sounds like a fucking pair of ear clippers, a tattoo gun. I was like, right. Then people say Demon Souls. I go and buy a Demon Souls. I pop that in.
Went home to get it.
Went home to get it. I hear this buzz. I'm muting the telly. I'm trying a thing, and it just, I was so thick. Literally for the whole of last week, from Monday to Friday, I must have spent hours just putting games in, turning the telly on mute, listening to it, seeing how loud I could hear it, doing every little test under the sun.
Yep.
Then putting my telly up, moving my console to see which was different, and it just consumed me. This fucking this coil wine gate. So much so that I had to start testing other consoles. I thought, is it mine? I mean, I'm seeing all these reports of people who've got it. Then I start telling my friends, yourself, members of the Dimp gang, I'm saying, can you hear it on yours? And then the testing comes. The testing comes out. The curiosity gets the better of me. I have to try and come round to people's houses to listen to it. You know,
you got people sending you videos.
Sending videos. I was getting videos. Like, here's the crux of what I've researched. I think that all PS5s have this, but it's not an issue. Right. This is the thing. PlayStation apparently now. I called PlayStation.
Yeah.
At the end, like towards the middle of the week, and told them and said this.
So get Jim on the phone. I want to chat with him. And then whilst you're there, get fucking Cerny on hold as well. I want to have a chat with him. He's built this fucker.
A chat with him. Hour and 10 minutes it took me to get through to Sony. But which I was livid. I thought, fucking hell, they don't
only
take
a $5 a minute.
£5 a minute, that dreaded phone bill. I get through. There's a lovely lady from Scotland. I don't normally like the Scottish, but no, I'm joking, they're lovely people. But no, she was a very helpful lady. Explained the situation to her. I said, look, I play a couple of games. I sound like I'm fucking giving myself a tattoo or something here. There's this buzzing on. I said, you know, I've looked online. I said, this is core one. She went, no, it's not that. And I was like, right, well, what is it then? She went, well, it's for the text to decide, isn't it? So she was very, very sort of dismissive of it, but just said, look, yeah, right, if you're not happy, send it to us. We've got loads of replacements.
Right.
We'll try and get one back to you before Christmas. 14 days, I'll give you. So I said, right, okay. So I get that booked in. I think, right, that's it. Then fucking Rodney starts playing up again. He goes, is it that bad, though, for you to send it off? And this is where now I'm sitting there thinking, have I just fixated on this too much? This is where the research was coming. And then this is where I'm getting the video. I'm getting everybody's videos.
I mean, how many people did you, 6?
7.
7 videos. Does that include you?
That's include me, yeah. Personal videos being sent.
Yeah.
And all 7 have this buzz in some capacity.
Yeah.
And all of them, like they say, and I will admit, it doesn't overpower the telly. Well, actually, I'll tell you, mine did. Mine did overpower the telly.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I reckon it's when you start hearing it that you start fixating on it. There are probably so many people who wouldn't even know about this, but now you've heard me talk about this, if you pop your head, put a game on, go straight into gameplay, and it seems to be the harder it's pushing the game,
the
higher this little buzz is getting. Now, this buzz, it's like I say, mine. I think mine is a defect, and I'll be interested to see if it is once we get there back. But after I've done this research, I then went back and finished off Miles.
Yeah.
And for that evening, I had my TV on a more normal sort of level. There was ambient noise going on in the house and whatnot. And I've got to say, it didn't bother me at all. It was my telly overpowered, and it wasn't a problem. And that's when I was like, right, should I send this off, or is it just me being a fucking prat, or is it wrong? So. Yeah, in the end, it just got to me. I was like, curiosity's got the better of me. And I was like, I just want to know and see if a PS5 can be completely silent.
That Xbox is completely silent.
Because that was the biggest thing. Yeah, it's so hard to explain this and not sound like a sort of fanboy. But when I pip it up against the Xbox Series X, I played Assassin's Creed, which again is running at 60.
Yeah.
You know, all right, maybe it doesn't look as good as Spider-Man, but.
It's pushing the hardware reasonably.
It's pushing the hardware. It's got it, and there is not a fucking whistle coming out of that PS5, Xbox Series X. There is no electrical noise. Even if you shove your ear up against the disc tray, which I am having to do to listen to this buzz. And so when I'm comparing, and then that's making me think, well, it shouldn't be like this, but. Yeah, this has come down to the crux. I think all of it. At first, I thought it was the disk drive.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 videos from digital users who both got the same sort of noise. And again, this is not. I'm not saying that every PS5 is a defect. I think, like I say, this is a normal thing that happens, particularly with high-end graphics cards. Apparently, I've heard that. Is a thing, and it's not considered a defect. Apparently, a lot of the companies. I see a report from a chap on Twitter who said that he called up to complain about his coil whine and said, "Look, I've got this coil whine," and they were like, "Well, it's not a problem, so we're not
on your bike."
On your bike. So I think I've been lucky and been able to get a replacement, because I think they may be starting to turn. I don't know if that guy was from America or not.
Yeah.
So it's different region, but he was turned away. He said, no, if you want a replacement, you have to go to the retailer. It's not considered a problem. So
the retailer has no stock, and then
exactly,
you won't get it. Yeah, it's definitely, like when I did my research for you, there's definitely a buzz coming at the back of it. I've not noticed it during gameplay, but if you put your phone there or your ear there. And the fact that we've had 7 people do it and the buzz is there, either there's like just a poisonous shipment in Essex that's gone round that all have buzz capacity, or most, if not all, have some level of noise. And
if you're listening to this and you have got a PS5, could you? I'm not trying to ruin your experience. It sounds like I am, but just please, go and play a PS5 game. And put your ear to the disc tray, or where the disc tray would be, or back of the vents, or whatever, and just listen. And if it's completely silent, you're not talking bollocks, let me know, because I've searched hard. I've listened to every YouTube video, every Twitter. I'm on there every day looking at coil whine posts, people posting videos. I have not heard a whisper silent PS5 yet. Every single video I've heard has this buzz. And like I say, it's going to be amplified when you're sticking your phone in the fucking disc tray slot and recording it. It's going to be amplified. It's electricity in it. You're going to hear it. And like I say, it doesn't overpower the telly. Well, it did in my circumstance. That's why I've ended up sending it back. But that was more... the next day I tried Demon Souls, which is really drawing power. That sounded louder. It's quite a quiet game. That's what I found as well. Like, Miles, you've got fucking music going on in the background.
Yeah, you got Genki fucking calling up, going, hey. And you're like,
that's it. Brother. Demon Souls, it was very an atmospheric game where it's very quiet. You can just hear your own footsteps, and I could just hear the humming in the background. And I was like, right, I shouldn't be hearing that. Then you text me and told me, try Borderlands. That's got a 120 patch.
Yeah.
I fucking put that on. That thing sounded like a tattoo gun to me, and I was like, that can't be can't be satisfactory. So
it's a strange one, because when you first mentioned it, like, I reckon out of the 6 others that you asked, I think 3 or 4 of us all said, "Nah, it's whisper silent. Can't hear anything."
Yeah.
And so we all just like, I was like, "What's he mad? He must have a fucked one," which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But when you actually like put your head by the back of it, which is ludicrous, there is a buzz. Like there is there. So I think a lot of people, when they say it's silent, it isn't, because if you put your ear to the back of it, you can hear the buzz. And I think most people just don't do that because it doesn't. It's not audible in like normal circumstances. So I can understand when people say theirs is silent, they can't hear anything. But if you, I would not bet, actually I wouldn't bet, but I'd be surprised if there was many out there that didn't have some level of buzz. And poor old Clarky was like, "No, I ain't got any. Mine's all right." And then you bloody talked him into getting right up it, and he could hear it, and it's upset him. So
upset him. Yeah, he got a text later saying, "I'm thinking about it now," and that's what I think a lot of it is. It's when you know it's there. That's when it starts haunting you, and you're like, right now. Then I start listening out for it. That's the trouble, and that's what I think. That's the crux of this research, is that everyone starts off like that. No, it's whisper silent, and that's go and listen to it. Good. They do that, and they go, "Oh no, there is a buzz," and then they start noticing and think, "Oh," and that's what I think I did. But it is. I've seen people reports of it, of the noise increasing when the game starts, and then it shuts off.
Yeah.
And there's videos where mine didn't sound like nothing compared to mine. There's ones that are like real loud, and I think, oh, maybe mine's all right. So I feel like I think the crux is that they all have it. You're not going to hear it if you're sort of normal distance away and you've got your telly on. It's only if you're muting the telly. Yeah, that's it. So there's nothing to be worried about. It's just that I found mine to be louder than others. So if you're finding it's overpowering the telly, then maybe you might want to look into
getting on the blower,
speaking to Sony or getting it replaced. But it's like speaking to the woman as well, talking about it. She said, like I said, "Oh, you must have had quite a few phone calls about it." She said, "Yeah, we've had a few," but she said, in like the grand scheme of things, it probably amounts to about 2% of the consoles. I was like, sure. So, like I say, it's not. That's why no one's reporting it yet. There's a Sony magazine or website, I think, called Push Square, which is probably the biggest. One that they've stuck a few articles out about European consumers and that, and people talking about, they keep putting polls out to see how much. There was a poll of about 3,000 people, and that was over 50% of users that had it. Yeah. So it's not a huge. They're selling like fucking what? I think they've already sold about 3 million consoles already.
Something silly, yeah.
It's silly.
They're all gone.
They're all gone and gone. So it's not, when you're talking about a couple of thousand maybe that have got it, it's not a widespread problem. But and that was it. Curiosity got the better of me, and I shipped it off last Friday. So there will be an update in due course. Hoping to get it back before Christmas. And we will give you the result. I'm expecting, like I say, to get it back and still have the buzz, but as long as it's not overpowering the telly, then we should be fine. Yeah. If it is, I think I might even look into sending it back and waiting for a revised thing. So I think this is, if it is the norm, then I don't think that's good enough, to be honest. But it doesn't seem that way. There's not enough people. I think if it was a problem, it would be a bigger problem. It would be more widespread, and the likes of fucking IGN would be all over it. Yeah. This definitely seems contained and small, and it's very much sort of a Twitter thing.
It's weird that there's like 7 out of 7. Like, it's anecdotal, small, tiny sample, but you'd expect one of those to not have it. But like if it starts, that's the thing. If you can hear it over normal kind of sounds of the game, then that's when it becomes an issue. I mean, we have to say it is an upgrade on that fucking leaf blower of the PS4 Pro. There is, I think what's happened is, part of it is that because the thing's so fucking big, there was a lot of speculation from journalists and techies saying, "Oh, they're doing that because they want it to be silent." So as far as I know, Sony never said it's going to be silent. No one ever does. But the general kind of narrative was that, it's so big so that it's not got an overpowering fan noise and all that good stuff. Oh. So now that when people have got it and they're really trying to listen for it and find whether it is truly silent, it's not coming back, completely silent. Then it's causing and setting off these breakdowns in mentality where we have to be going off putting recording devices behind it. Yeah. I think part of it is that it was the one of the big stories of the PS4 Pro was the noise of it. Therefore, this was so big and ugly because it was going to be silent. And the fan, to be honest, you can't barely hear it. There's a tiny bit of like hum or like a little bit of like fan noise, but really minute. But there is this buzzing lurking once you get your head down there. So I think it's upset a few of the Apple carts, and it'd be interesting to see what happens with your one, whether it comes back and it's the same or worse or better. So we'll definitely update when that arrives.
But please don't let it spoil your experience of it. Like I say, you ain't, unless you're listening to it. For the majority of you ain't even going to hear it unless you get your fucking head down there, or you've got it like Adcock and fucking shove it in a cupboard.
Yeah, he shut it inside a cabinet and then said it was going mental in there, and I was like, that is not good for it. Don't do that. Like, give it some room. So he's cooked his potentially.
This is dead, but again, I'd just be interested. Just if you do have a PS5, just give it a little listen and just comment on Twitter or whatever, or on this YouTube or any of these podcast things. Just a little comment, just to say, slight buzz, but obviously no, I can't hear it when the telly's on, and it's not a problem for me. But just to know, or if you have got the golden ticket and go, mate, it's silent.
Yeah,
it's utterly silent. Then, well, we know you're lying. So, no, but yeah, this is more of like a sort of research thing. This is why I was, like I said, after playing Miles, it didn't bother me, and I was like, well, I can deal with that. If it's like this the whole time, that's fine. I haven't heard it. And then I was in two minds of sending it. I was thinking, fucking hell, I'm gonna have to wait 2 weeks. It's gonna get mixed up in the thing.
Yeah.
But more than anything, now I just want to know. So I've sort of done this for research just to find out.
It'd be very interesting to see what comes back for sure.
But yeah, do get in contact if you've experienced it or thought it yourself and been part of Twitter fucking Coil One Gate. Get involved. Get at me on Twitter.
There you go. Get at him. And also, like, it's better than Leaf Blower. We can all agree to that. And at the moment, touch wood, and again, them gaming gods are listening, so I best not get too overzealous. But we aren't at the moment on either console side looking at a Red Ring of Death type incident. No. That is good news so far. That what we will say though is that Series X is a fantastic piece of engineering. They've really
that does seem. What makes me wonder is if this. The way it's because it's early days, we're getting crashes left, right, and centre. There's patches coming here and there.
Yeah.
There may even be patch that will come. People like the full. I'd love to hear from like a proper sort of tech head that knows about all this sort of stuff. Someone with like computer science degree or something. So, and explaining, because it sounds like what this Core 1 starts from when it's drawing more power. So even if they patch something where they can make the PlayStation not draw enough power, then it increase this sound completely.
I've seen some. I think you may have shared it, like some Twitter folk that have said after the most recent system update, it lowered the intensity of the buzz. So who knows? I mean, it's a bit of a mystery.
Who knows? Well, in a couple of weeks' time, this could be dead and gone, and I'd have gone, fucking hell, I didn't even need to send it off. A patch has sorted it.
Well, you get a nice fresh one at least.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, to be intrigued to see. But I'll tell you one thing I did realise. There was this new report that now with your PS5 trophies, you get voice clips. It records your voice when doing it.
Yeah.
I did think now I've sent mine off, they'll all be gone now, so I won't have... But then they're only trophies for a mile, so I don't think I'll be going yes in the background.
Oh yeah, no.
Like I would with Demon Souls. That'd be some good audio experiences. But I thought that's in the bin. But
there you go. Buzzgate 2020.
Okay, it's been a horrid week after the buzz and excitement from day one. Got a couple of days out of it, and I've got to say this last week has been fucking aggravating for me and my peers. Everyone's been livid with me. Keep wanging on. I was getting people to record videos every day, multiple times. ruining their experiences. Biff was frightened to get a video. He didn't want to. He kept calling me OCD boy. And
Yeah, he didn't like it, did he?
he was scared. So
yeah, he was one of the ones that went from saying no, it's whisper science to saying, oh no, there is. But
yeah,
I don't know what the expectation is like with electronics, because like I mentioned to you, and we were speaking about it, like my PC is a constant kind of hum, like low hum. I'll just accept that as part of it. But
that's what I think it is. I think the trouble is with mine as well is I even got the fucking tape measure. This is how in depth my research was going. I sit exactly 6 foot away from the console and my TV, so there's only 6 foot. Now I looked on a LG OLED experience website, and it said optimal sitting distance should be 9 foot.
Fuck that. I want me to see what's going on.
Exactly, a 55. Oh, piss poor eyes. But that's the thing. So if they're saying you're supposed to be sitting 9 foot away, that's the thing as well. If you're sitting further away, this little buzz is getting less and less. So it might be my predicament. The setup I had it on is probably vibrations going through the wood. Who knows? It could be any little fucking amalgamation or whatever, anything like this. But this is just my experience, and I thought I'd share it. But yeah, keep your ears and eyes out. And that is Coil Wine Gate 2020.
We'll see. We'll have an update as and when we get it, and be interested to see if this takes on a life of its own, whether it does it just sort of falls away as more people get them. But that's the PS5 buzz that's been going on.
If anything, it's been making some good entertaining videos. I've done a little video you can watch on our Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Me packing away the PS5 to some somber music. It's been entertaining, but hell of a week for a PS5 owner. I've got people messaging me yesterday saying, "What would you prefer? What should I get? The PS5 or the Xbox?" And I'm going, "Well, the PS5's gone back, mate." So not to recommend it. Nah, this is the trouble. Like, and especially out of the two, like I love both of the systems, but I was just so excited by PS5 because it felt so new and everything. And to have that first 3 days of the buzz and the gameplay and Astro Bot, Miles and the new UI, getting that excitement, and then to have this, like someone come along and take it all away from me, crapped on everyone and disheartened it. It's like I say, I just don't want it to leak onto anyone else. And I'm sure I'll get it back and I'll be happy enough with it, and long may it continue for another 7 years. Or I think, fucking hell, I'm going to wait for a Slim or something.
Well, if it comes back and it is completely silent, then I'll be getting on the blower to them next year saying, hang on a minute, I want the silent one. So it'd be interesting to see what comes back. If it's the same or a slightly lower buzz, then most people can rest easy. It's just one of those things, and in normal circumstances you shouldn't notice. If you do start noticing it over your sound, then perhaps get on the phone to Sony and say, wait, I don't be liking this. But we'll have an update for you in due course as and when we get it. Well, that's it. Episode done. We have to make a quick apology to someone who was listening. It was from Pee-wee. Now, we mentioned Pee-wee. He said I've been accused of not being a gamer. So I got a Series X on release day, and he dragged me through the mud. And I told him that he shouldn't have got one on release day. That's just madness. He said he's a top gamer, and he's going to get Cyberpunk. Gamer Pee-wee. So apologies, Pee-wee. I didn't think you fucking listened, in all honesty, but
no,
you are you are a gamer. And you've actually appeared on some of the Dimp YouTube stuff back in the day. So you're
the best trials I've ever seen.
Best player, godlike at trials. So we always said we'd get him to do that as a stream. So maybe we'll resurrect that. But many apologies, Pee-wee. You are a top gamer in our eyes. Right, that's it. Nothing more for us to say here at Dimp Digital. Closing out Idle Game Chat for another week. One quick thing. Not doing the Hall of Fame this year, so basically I want to kind of do it a bit more structured than what I was planning. Ain't got time to do it by the end of this year, so the class of the first Hall of Fame episode or induction, whatever we decide to do, will happen next year. But game of the generation will be revealed before the year is out. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back next Monday here on Idle Game Chat. Subscribe on any good podcast outlet or YouTube. But there's nothing more for us to say apart from thanks for your time and Buzzgate.
Excellent.
This was a Dimp Digital production.